There is a reason you found this message today, and it has nothing to do with coincidence. Before you continue, pause for just a moment and listen to your own voice. Has something changed recently? Perhaps it sounds deeper than before. Maybe it has become softer, calmer, or strangely powerful. Maybe people have started reacting to you differently without either of you understanding why. If that is happening, according to the symbolic Arcturian perspective, you may be experiencing a shift in consciousness that is changing the energetic quality of how you express yourself. This message is not presented as scientific fact or certainty. Instead, it offers a spiritual interpretation that many people find meaningful as they reflect on their own experiences. If any part resonates with your personal journey, take it as an invitation for self-reflection and simply leave behind anything that doesn't. The Arcturians say that your voice is far more than sound. It is the signature of your consciousness. It carries your emotions, your memories, your intentions, and the vibration of every lesson your soul has integrated. When your inner frequency changes, your voice may naturally begin to change with it. Not because something is wrong, but because something within you is evolving. What you are about to hear has helped thousands of spiritual seekers better understand the quiet transformations happening inside them. Stay until the end, because the final revelation explains why some people can no longer recognize the vibration you now carry, and why this is actually one of the clearest signs that your frequency has shifted. Before we begin, subscribe and join this growing community of awakened souls exploring consciousness, symbolism, and spiritual growth together. If these messages resonate with you, your presence here helps keep these conversations alive for others seeking meaning on their own path. Now, take one slow breath, open your heart, and listen carefully, because your voice may already be speaking a language your soul has waited lifetimes to remember. Everything begins with a sound. Before you spoke your first word, before your mind learned language, before you understood the world around you, vibration came first. Every heartbeat, every breath, every whisper of emotion created invisible waves, moving through your body long before you knew what they meant. From the symbolic Arcturian perspective, human beings are not simply biological creatures producing sound through vocal cords. They are living instruments whose voices reflect the state of their inner consciousness. The voice is more than communication, it is resonance. It is an energetic fingerprint that changes as we change. That is why many people notice something unusual during periods of deep personal transformation. They wake one morning and hear a voice that somehow feels unfamiliar. It may be lower, calmer, richer, or filled with a quiet confidence that was never there before. Others notice that they naturally begin speaking more slowly. Some discover they no longer enjoy constant conversation. Silence suddenly becomes more comforting than endless words. At first, these changes seem ordinary, perhaps caused by stress, age, or lifestyle. Yet deep inside, something whispers that the explanation is incomplete. Something far more mysterious appears to be unfolding beneath the surface. The Arcturian teachings describe this moment as the beginning of frequency remembrance. It is not that your voice has changed randomly. It is that the consciousness generating the voice has begun to evolve. Imagine a musical instrument that has been slightly out of tune for many years. it still produces music, but the notes never quite feel pure. Then, one day someone carefully adjusts every string until perfect harmony returns. The instrument has not become something new. It has simply remembered its original resonance. According to this symbolic perspective, human consciousness experiences a similar process. Throughout life, fear, disappointment, emotional wounds, social expectations, and constant survival gradually distort the natural vibration of the soul. Many people spend decades speaking with voices shaped by anxiety, people-pleasing, hidden anger, or the desperate need for approval. They are not expressing who they truly are. They are expressing who they learned they had to become. But consciousness never stops growing. Eventually, experiences begin dissolving those old energetic layers. Sometimes it happens after heartbreak. Sometimes after profound loss. Sometimes during meditation, deep reflection, or an unexpected awakening that cannot easily be explained. The old emotional frequency starts losing its grip. As those invisible layers dissolve, the voice itself begins changing, because the energy creating it is changing. People around you may notice before you do. Someone casually remarks that your voice sounds different. Another says you seem calmer. A stranger listens more carefully than expected. Children stare with unusual curiosity. Animals become unexpectedly peaceful around you. These moments appear random until they happen again and again. According to the Arcturian message, this is not because your vocal cords suddenly improved. It is because vibration communicates long before words ever reach another person's ears. Human beings unconsciously sense frequencies beneath language. Every sentence carries emotional information beyond its literal meaning. A fearful person can speak beautiful words while transmitting anxiety. A peaceful person can say very little while transmitting extraordinary calm. Your nervous system recognizes this every day without realizing it. Have you ever entered a room where no one smiled, yet you immediately felt tension? No one needed to explain anything. You felt the frequency first. The same principle applies to your own voice. As your consciousness becomes more coherent, your voice begins carrying greater energetic stability. The Arcturians describe this as resonance replacing performance. For most of life, people perform. They adjust their personalities to fit expectations, hide emotions to avoid judgment, and speak words designed to gain acceptance. Every performance slightly disconnects the voice from authentic frequency. Over time, exhaustion follows because maintaining a false vibration consumes enormous energy. But awakening changes everything. Slowly, almost invisibly, the need to perform begins disappearing. You stop forcing conversations. You stop explaining yourself endlessly. You no longer chase arguments. You become comfortable allowing silence to complete what words cannot. The remarkable twist is that the less you struggle to be heard, the more people naturally begin listening. This surprises many awakening souls. They expect transformation to make them louder, more expressive, or more charismatic. Instead, they become quieter. Yet somehow every sentence carries greater weight. The Arcturian perspective explains this paradox beautifully. Power does not come from volume. Power comes from coherence. When your thoughts, emotions, and intentions align, every word carries amplified resonance. Imagine dropping a perfectly smooth stone into a still lake. The ripples travel effortlessly across the water. Compare that to throwing dozens of stones into turbulent waves. The energy becomes chaotic and scattered. Most people communicate like the second example. Their minds race, emotions conflict. Intentions shift from moment to moment, and their voices reflect that inner turbulence. As consciousness matures, the inner lake gradually becomes still. Words no longer fight against hidden emotional storms. They emerge from clarity. Others may not understand why your voice affects them differently, but they feel it nonetheless. This is why many awakened individuals notice something unexpected. Some relationships begin fading without dramatic conflict. Conversations that once felt exciting suddenly seem exhausting. Gossip becomes unbearable. Complaints feel physically draining. Speaking merely to fill silence loses all attraction. It is not arrogance. It is energetic incompatibility. Your frequency has changed, and naturally your communication begins matching that new vibration. The Arcturians say every awakening eventually reaches a threshold where truth becomes impossible to suppress. At first, this feels uncomfortable because authenticity often disrupts old relationships built upon masks. People accustomed to your previous vibration may accuse you of changing. In reality, they are correct. You are changing. But perhaps the deeper question is this: were you ever meant to remain the same? Every tree changes with the seasons. Every river changes its course. Every star evolves across unimaginable spans of time. Why should human consciousness remain frozen forever? Perhaps growth has always been the true purpose of existence. And perhaps your changing voice is simply the first audible evidence that your soul has already begun remembering who it has always been. The Arcturians invite you not to fear this transformation, but to witness it with curiosity. Listen to your own voice without judgment. Notice how it feels when you speak truth compared with when you speak from obligation. Observe how your chest responds, how your throat relaxes, and how silence itself begins carrying meaning. These subtle shifts are not merely changes in sound. They are invitations to know yourself more deeply. They remind you that consciousness is alive, always evolving, always inviting greater authenticity. And if your voice truly is beginning to vibrate differently, perhaps it is because your soul is no longer willing to whisper the truth. It came here to express.